welcome to J2. Jackie, Jacob, Jacob, and Jacob's going to win today because this is the debate you've all been waiting for.
The big debate.
Seinfeld versus Friends. With our special guest, Thomas and John. They're our moderators. There's their cam. And so we're going to get ready to begin. Moderators, what's up?
Moderators,
good,
what's up?
Good. All right. Should we do opening statements first?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. My fellow YouTubers, the age-old question has been out there since the end of the 90s. Which one's better, Friends or Seinfeld? Well, today, it's a very easy answer. And I'm going to give you the reasons why throughout this debate. I'm not going to spoil it for you throughout this whole thing right now, but I will say that we ran for nine years. Seinfeld did. Could have ran for about 13, but Jerry said, no. This isn't just a moneymaker. This is something special. This is legendary. And I'm going to make sure that it's preserved, that is, as legendary for the rest of eternity. And that's what Seinfeld is, ladies and gentlemen. Legendary.
There's really no question as to why Friends is called the favorite sitcom of all time. With the show that survived with flying colors 10 glorious seasons of indescribable humor, impeccable writing, and the best of the best in acting, there really is no debate. Throughout this evening, I will confidently, fully enlighten you with all that Friends had to offer and continues to offer to support my debate. I think it's very safe to say that everybody knows Ross and Rachel were on a break, regardless of your interpretation of a break and whose side you took. We know that Joey loves the ladies, and many men have followed in his pickup line, "How you doing?" We know that Smelly Cat is the only song performed by the best and yet the absolute worst guitar player, Phoebe. We know that Chandler is the funny nerd everyone wants to be. We know that despite being a scientist, Ross did, after all, get Rachel. We know that we've all learned how to cook and clean house for Monica, and we've learned that Rachel, despite being spoiled in the beginning, grew to be a successful lady. So, to my Seinfeld opponent, Friends is still and always will be number one. So, come join me on the orange couch of Central Perk, and as Friends say, I'll be there for you.
Moderators?
Questions to you, Jacob. Okay. Who's your favorite character, and do you think they would have had as much success as they did without them, and why?
I would have to say my favorite character would be Kramer, just because when I was younger, when it first came out, he was my favorite due to the fact that he came in the door really stead-ho in the doors. But as I grew up, as I got older, it became George, because he's more relatable. He was like me, a loser, but a lovable loser at that. And in life, there's not always winners, and that's what you saw in this show. And does George, Kramer, Elaine, or Jerry need to be in this show? Yeah, because they're all a part of their own universe. They're all friends. Like we're all friends. Not that fake stuff that's on Hollywood that you saw from Friends from 6 people that are replaceable.
Actually, I think that Friends are good friends, and that's part of the reason that Friends were characters together, because them together formed the great show that we now know as Friends that still plays. Kramer, for instance, in other shows that I've seen him act in, always plays the psycho freak. So how is he always the favorite character? And George, who what? Is he supposed to be the funny guy?
No, he's the relatable guy.
He's not that relatable, though, because all the Friends people are relatable. Everything that I told you in the beginning is relatable.
There are like 2/3 of them are Italian. I've never been Italian in my life. I've been balding before, like George.
We have some Italian friends that might disagree with that. Yeah, but no, I think that, I mean, and truthfully, I can't say a whole lot about the Seinfeld characters because I've never been interested long enough to watch them. So.
Fair enough.
This question is for both of you guys. You guys can just answer. What kind of impact do you feel your show has had on people, and why?
My show has had a huge impact on not just pop culture, but also just day-to-day conversations. You have such lines as shrinkage, you know, I've been in the pool, it shrinks. Before that, who knew that? I mean, who knew that before that? Even Elaine said, I didn't know that was a thing. Guys knew it was a thing, but girls now knew it was a thing. You had no soup for you, the soup Nazi, that's iconic. People quote that all the time, sometimes annoyingly, but they still quote it to this day. You also had such lines, or such episodes as Puffy Shirt, The Contest, Bizarro Jerry, where you saw Elaine find another group of friends that were a little bit off and a little bit too perfect, as you see in Friends. They're too perfect, they're not real. And this Seinfeld is real. Real situations, and Every day could be an episode of Seinfeld in this world. Friends, not so much.
So how is 6 people living in New York City not relatable?
Because we live in
Like
Colorado.
we live in Colorado, but still it's 6 people that are friends that live together, that they all do separate things, that, you know, like one is a waitress, one is a scientist. They all have relatable jobs. And let's see, what were you gonna say? Oh, and then also the fact that, like, okay, so you take one of Friends episodes, that's the breakup of Ross and Rachel, and the fact that they were on a break, which I mentioned earlier. How is that not relatable? Has anybody ever been on a break? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, the first time I can understand, but about the 5th time they were on a break, it's like, come on. Do you have any other ideas?
Who doesn't know Smelly Cat?
Okay.
Okay, and the shrinkage thing, I don't know if I'd want that to be relatable if I was a guy, quite honestly.
But
I right?
it's real life
Woo!
relatable. It's real life relatable. Not all life is positive, and how many
That's true,
how
but
many
not everything's
actors and
positive in
actresses
Friends either.
have been like catapulted because of Seinfeld? You have almost the cast of Breaking Bad, the full cast of Breaking Bad started on Seinfeld. You have Gilmore Girls starting in there, Sarah Silverman, Courtney Cox, before she was on Friends, was on Seinfeld. That's how she got noticed before she was on Friends.
Exactly, and a lot of people make cameos on Friends too. So
That
you
were
have
already
Robin
famous?
Williams, yeah, they're already famous, but they
Right.
were on Friends, so it made them even more famous because they were on Friends. And of course, the fact that all of them are also famous besides Friends.
Okay, but it ruined Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston forever because they got together then, and then.
Moving on.
Yeah,
saying.
Brad Pitt looked hot in that, so just saying.
Guess this is a question for both of you. What role did Friends or Seinfeld play in its generation's upbringing, and how they view serious topics that were talked about in the show's runnings?
So I think it's kind of the same thing as I just said anyways, that I think that it is relatable, being that, you know, they all are, and two, that they all started in their 20s. So it kind of showed how their lives were in their early 20s and how they grew up to be, you know, in their mid 30s. And how you know, growing up together and everything, and how their jobs and whatever that they, you know, faced during the 10-year running of Friends, as opposed to your 9.
Well, let me reiterate the question. So, like the topics that were talked about during the show's running, do you think that affected your upbringing, like the way they viewed things on the show, like of serious topics that were talked about on the show?
My upbringing specifically?
While watching the show, do you think that you had a certain outlook or a certain opinion on views that were talked about in the show?
Honestly, I think Friends kind of ruined a lot of people for love because they think they're going to be in love with this one person for a long time, and then all of a sudden they're just going to break up. Then they're going to get back together. They may have a baby together, maybe a monkey together, who knows? But then they'll get back together. That's setting up expectations for the youth of America.
That's true, but
Jerry
there were
and
only
Elaine,
2 of them, though. There were only 2 of them that broke up and got back together. There were other couples within them that were good couples. So, like, when Phoebe met Mike, and they made a nice relationship, and they were fine. They didn't break up. They didn't have that kind of situation. And then Monica and Chandler obviously got together. They were good friends in the beginning, and then they became a married couple that then had twins. So...
I mean, as far as Seinfeld goes, it shows you that even though you were friend or did date somebody, you could be friends and not have that relationship go to another level. I mean, you could still be friends throughout the whole duration of your friendship, even though there are awkward times. That is life, and there were negatives. But I think in the long run, Seinfeld paved the way to new alternative comedians that maybe weren't going to be noticed more unless this show was made. Friends, I think, almost ruined the sitcoms. I mean, how many sitcoms do you see now that are trying to be Friends and they're just tanking, and people are going away from sitcoms? What are they going to? Alternative comedy, and also to serious shows, which star some people that starred in Friends or Seinfeld for a little bit.
I do actually think it's funny that you said that Seinfeld would have not been successful. Let's see, what did you say? That Seinfeld would, part of the reason that they ended was because Jerry Seinfeld said that had they gone an extra season, they think that they would have lost their excitement about Seinfeld.
Right.
So it's probably good that they quit at 9.
Yeah, I mean, the NBC wanted them for another 3 years, but they said, nah, we're good. We like how it ended. We're going to end it at that.
And we're coming back and having a return. Are you?
We don't need to. We did it already a couple years ago. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
This is fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this will be one sentence or less.
Okay.
Not too much of a runoff.
Not a debate.
How would you convince one person who hasn't seen your show that your show is better? Give you a second.
Repeat watchability. Can watch one episode and still be funny. Relatable characters.
Okay.
Oddly constructed.
As is Seinfeld, so I think I'm going to it.
Popularity these days, social media hype, because everybody loves it and everybody hated that it ended. And what else was I going to say? Damn, I missed my thought.
Redo it.
I could do it in a little bit if I think of it. And we can put it in.
Alright. Did Friends or Seinfeld push the boundaries when it came to sex, alcohol, and drugs, and do you think it was beneficial to the show?
Seinfeld really didn't push the edge as far as that goes. Sex maybe the most out of anything, because back in the early 90s, mid-90s, it really wasn't talked about as much as they did now. Obviously, you had the contest talking about self-pleasure, and then you also had sex talk almost every week about a different partner. You didn't have that back in the early 90s, so it was really the path that was taken by many sitcoms from then on about talking about sex openly, including Friends.
Yeah? What was your question? Sorry, you got to restate it.
Did Friends push the boundaries when it came to sex, alcohol, and drugs, and do you think it was beneficial to the show?
So I don't really think that they were pushing boundaries. I think that they were just bringing up subjects that were well known. I think that, in our episode of when Ross got Rachel pregnant, he said that condoms were only 98% effective. And then Joey proceeds to pull out his whole line of condoms and read and find out that they are, in fact, only 98% effective. However, that probably bumped up the condom industry so that people would be protecting themselves.
True, but couldn't you argue that maybe Friends could have taken a real-life situation as Matthew Perry being addicted to drugs and turned that into an episode to show real-life harm of drugs that could do?
Yeah, sure, but that's real life. It wasn't his character in the show. I think you're taking the show
It doesn't necessarily have to be
as
Chandler,
opposed
though.
to real life.
It doesn't have to be Chandler, but they knew that was happening. Couldn't they bring in another character or have maybe Joey, who's in Hollywood, have those situations?
Yeah, but I still think it's bringing a character out of the show into the show when it's not. Chandler was not a druggie.
No.
Matthew Perry was a druggie.
Right.
So, no.
With the availability of outlets to watch TV episodes, both current and from the past, why would someone skip over watching other shows to watch yours?
Okay, yeah, so like I was saying, I think that Friends, with as popular as they've been for a long time, and then of course the hype of when it became on Netflix, and then the popularity of it then, and everybody being excited about the fact that it was on Netflix, I think that already built up excitement from a bunch of us in the 90s that were popular, or that liked Friends and that were avid watchers. I think now also some of us have kids that are now getting more excited about it also because our parents have been excited about it too.
Okay. So those kids who do watch Friends on Netflix, I don't know if they can relate to Friends as much because there's a lot of talk of old technology that isn't around anymore or old things that happened. Seinfeld, it's more durable as far as that all goes because it doesn't cover technology, it covers themes that we can relate to now. Just dealing with rejection or dealing with different obstacles that are in our way. Seinfeld is just the epitome of that. A show about nothing, but about everything is what Seinfeld really was about. They didn't have a theme from week to week. They just had a certain topic they kind of wanted to cover, and they loosely did it, and that's what it made it amazing because you didn't know exactly where the Seinfeld episode was going to go. And that unpredictability is very vital to this young generation and also to the millennials like ourselves.
Yeah, but I don't think that I don't think that Friends was predictable necessarily. No. And what technology are you talking about? What technology do they talk about that they wouldn't know now?
Like dial-up internet and everything like that.
Yeah, but I think they make references to like what it is, even if they do mention dial-up internet.
Okay, all right, fair enough. But I just think that Friends was great for its age. But I think Seinfeld, I mean, you can probably play it in 100 years, and a lot of the themes, a lot of the jokes, a lot of the one-liners that people know and love are still going to be popular to this day. You're still going to have people that hate somebody say, "Hello, Newman," or something like that. Just those itty-bitty lines throughout every single, brings back so many memories. I can't think of one memorable Friends episode except for maybe the monkey. I love the monkey.
You would love the monkey. I think you actually could think of a memorable episode and one-liners from Friends also. Like I said, Joey's "How you doing?" That's common. Everybody knows Smelly Cat. I think, though we were on a break, like I said before, I think that it's memorable also. And maybe Seinfeld is too. I just think that Friends is more memorable and more popular. Plus, didn't we do a poll last year of what was better, Friends or Seinfeld? And who won?
Well, that was different.
Friends won, thank you.
Hulu just paid a bunch of money to have Seinfeld on. I don't know how much
money did you?
Netflix spent on Friends, but Seinfeld got a boatload of money because I knew
on Netflix?
How profitable Hulu and Seinfeld could be.
On Netflix?
No, Seinfeld. And on Hulu.
Hulu.
All right.
Tell someone why to watch an episode tonight.
Okay.
Or what episode to watch, where to start.
Ooh.
You
Yeah.
can with Seinfeld, and it's perfect.
You got to start, but that's the thing. Once you watch that pilot episode of Friends, you get hooked, and then you have to watch it all. So I think my answer would definitely be the original episode of Friends, the pilot episode, because you find out that Rachel just walked away from her husband, you find out that Monica and Ross are brother and sister, and you find out everything in that very beginning, and then the story just builds. So it'll make you want to watch the whole series.
All right, I think mine would have to be a toss-up between two. The Merv Griffith show, where Kramer gets the old Merv Griffith set and he interviews people. It's hilarious, and it just shows the obscurity of Seinfeld. And also Bizarro Jerry. That's when Elaine becomes friends with some weird characters that look exactly like Jerry, Kramer, and George, except the nice versions of them. You can check that out because it just shows how random and how this show just kind of changed the way that we think of comedy overall. Jackie, it's been a great debate.
You as well. It's been real.
It's been fun.
And that's it.
And we're done.